Welcome to Kaizen Time, part of the Blood, Sweat, and Business podcast, where we provide constant improvement to businesses through timely, actionable financial solutions. Do you want answers to your financial questions? Email us at bsp@kaizencpas.com. I'm your host, Mark Valesky. Now let's get started. Welcome to Kaizen Time. I'm joined by Eric Jorn, a partner here at the firm. Hello, Eric.
Hello, hello.
You ready to do this?
I'm ready to do this.
Because we are going to be going through the best software packages for automotive repair shops. And by best, I'm going to start by saying I realize best is different for everybody.
100%. That's a good, very good point.
Okay? Because what I view as the best of anything is always through my own scope.
Yep.
And the best solution may be tailored to the size of your shop, right?
Yep.
And the services that you offer.
And the experience that your team has, your goals as your role as a shop owner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. So you really have to do some soul searching to figure out.
I love that you chose soul searching as the word.
Of what you want to do as a shop owner, because it can really dictate where you're at today and where you want to go tomorrow.
Well, and the long and short of it, too, is some of them require work on the back end, right? Like a lot of input.
Yep.
But those are also preparing you for those are like a long haul.
Exactly.
If you're looking for something, real simple, like, hey, I can punch this out in the next day and it's going to last me the next year. If that's your goal, then that's great.
Exactly.
So really, it's aligning your goals with a software package that will ideally compensate for that, I guess is the right term.
Exactly. So as a shop owner, right, you have to look at where am I at today, right? It's always a good place to start. If you you should have a shop management software in place. If you don't, you're probably not listening to this podcast first.
First off, what is a shop management software?
Yep. So that is the nuts and bolts of your shop's backbone. So it is what you log every single repair in, your inventory, your timekeeping, everything. All the magic happens within that shop management software. It is the hub, the database of your shop.
Can you give me some quick names on what those would be?
Yeah. So you have Techmetric and Mitchell 1 are probably the two most popular in the marketplace today. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of newer ones and a lot of up-and-comers. Shopware is very popular. We see that one often. Shop Monkey's one that's growing pretty dramatically. AutoFluent is another one that's been or AutoLeap is another one. I think AutoFluent is one, but they're not as prominent. And there's definitely a migration moving where Mitchell 1 owned that market for the most part for a very long time. They have not adopted to a SaaS model, so software as a service, web browser-based product. That's what allowed the market share to really open up to these other companies that became a lot more technology-focused and all-in-one integrated product. So they've started to essentially take over the market share. I think Techmetric might own as much or maybe more market share now than Mitchell does.
Okay.
At this point.
So let's talk about that handful that you gave me.
Yep.
Which one's kind of the best and worst for who?
Yeah. Well, so if I'm at a shop and I've been operating on Mitchell and I'm a shop owner that I'm fine with coming in every day and being kind of chained to what I'm doing, and I don't want to I'm willing to come into the office and work off a desktop, or if I have a remote desktop atmosphere where I log into a virtual desktop to access this. And I don't want to deal with the change. Maybe I got a big team, right? And whenever you got a big team, it's like moving the Titanic, right? When you're small, you're nice and nimble, you can move around.
Ain't that the truth? Yep.
So, Mitchell has really good reporting capabilities. You can pretty much run a report on anything and everything that you want to get out of it. And if your team knows that system back and forth, it's hard to argue why should I, something should prompt you to make a change.
That's typically the case. Yep.
So, I mean, if it's well functioning and you're relying on the reporting that you're currently getting out of it, and you're fine with the limitations of a non-SaaS-based product, I don't see why you should change from them.
Real quick, I'm just gonna pause you about having something that isn't SaaS-based, right?
Yep.
So it's living on your computer. Right?
Exactly.
So
local
if your
program.
computers catch a virus, or there's a power surge, or something happens, all of a sudden you're done.
Yep.
That's the end. And I don't know if you've been backing up your stuff, whatever.
So it does replicate. You should have it plugged in to the internet.
You should, right?
And it should,
but it doesn't.
It does have the ability to replicate the data inside the cloud.
Okay.
It's just less robust in the cloud than it is on the local, on the local app side of things. So it's, to me, it's a lot more restrictive to operate that way. But again, you're a big shop. You've been using it. They probably still have the best labor guide on the market. It's a good solution for a lot of shops. We're a very technology focused firm. We're going to put you in SaaS products as much as possible. So if you're looking to make a change, we're probably going to gear you towards one of the SaaS products, and it probably would bring us to TechMetric.
Okay. We're physically working online. You have options on mobile.
Yep.
Do it on desktop.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we've seen that they clearly have the most development happening in the marketplace, the most money going into R&D. I really like their platform. Their end-of-day report, for me, gets me 99% of the information I need. As with any software, right, there's always upsides and downsides. There's some downsides that I don't like on the reporting side inside of TechMetric that, I hope that they'll improve, right? Still a relatively newer product. That might change with over time. They have a lot of good integrations with third-party apps. Their API is open. You can go right on their website, grab their API to integrate it with other products. That's really
which is underrated. And for those who don't know what any of that stuff means, it means that outside entities can also build software that can basically interact and help it out. Right?
Exactly.
You can get more nuanced features or kind of quality of life add-ons.
Exactly. I mean, most shop owners that I work with are looking to operate their business not at this floor level. So they want to be outside of the shop working on the business. And to have something in which I can log on and I can see my job board dashboard. I can see every car that's in my shop, who's working on it, who's logged in on it. And that, that's a huge benefit to that shop owner that wants to work remote. So, our goal when we bring on a shop owner is to unchain them, right? So a lot of them were on QuickBooks Desktop before. And we're migrating them to QuickBooks Online. So now they have QuickBooks Online. They have a SAS-based shop management system. And we're even installing something called DEX, which is a receipt capture system. So they can actually see all the bills running through the shop where, even if something comes hand-delivered, an invoice hand-delivered, it's getting scanned in. So we want you to have all your data available on a laptop or iPad, wherever you want to go and travel to. I talked to a shop owner the other day. His goal is to run his shop from his boat.
Fair enough.
I
would also love to run anything from my boat.
Well, it takes a lot of strategy. Like you have to have the right pieces in place, right? Not all of us are at that point, but one of those pieces is technology, and is my technology in the right place? And you are still one physical human being, right? Yep. You can't be everywhere at once. And if you're looking, especially to grow into multiple locations, which is a very popular thing to do. Yep. You can't be there, but with a SaaS-based system, you can kind of at least have a snapshot of what's going on each one of those locations. Yeah, I mean, one of the things I enjoy about TechMetric, right, if I have multiple shops, there's a little drop-down. I go and click on the drop-down, and there's a list of my shops that I have. And I can toggle between shop to shop to shop. It's super easy. If I want to duplicate a browser page, I just right-click, hit duplicate. I could have say I got 3 shops, I could have all 3 of them open, the end-of-day reports. I can click back to back to back, or I could spread them all 3 out on my 3 screens if I'm on a setup like that. It's really, I've enjoyed working in it. Again, right, like you said to start, everybody's got a software feel. There's some people that I've talked to, they don't like the look and the feel of it. It doesn't just translate to them. It doesn't talk to them. I mean, so many people swear by QuickBooks Desktop. I can't stand QuickBooks Desktop's interface. I really like QuickBooks Online's, but I got people on my team who are sort of still like QuickBooks Online. I don't like the way it looks or feels. I like desktop, and that might be, that's your nuance. That's your decision. And you got to think about what your team is going to be most successful doing.
I mean, I was talking to Henry and we were talking about that green screen computer. And I was like, hey, those things are fast.
They are
because
fast.
You know, people just learn that they could memorize those hotkeys and they would
Yep.
just cook through it. So you're right. It's about what is the best choice, not for right now, but you really need to be thinking about the future.
Yeah, actually, I know those very well. My past life as a service advisor, we worked off of I guess you'll call it a hotkey system, right? So I could write an RO, I could slap through that RO in about 30 seconds, and we got quote unquote upgraded to a point and click system. It was very frustrating. But then you look at upsides, right? I mean, there's so many upsides to having that now.
Yep.
You're a lot more interactive with your customer. There's online appointments flowing through. There's all sorts of different things happening. Whereas in the old system, you used to have to manually do a lot of those things.
There wasn't that level of reporting.
Yep, exactly.
So let's talk about some other types of software that are needed, because that we were just talking about like your base, right?
Yeah.
What other stuff could we be looking at?
Well, right. So we covered 3 of the really most important things, right? We said your shop management system, which is your hub. Yeah, QuickBooks Online is kind of that back-end accounting system, and you're going to get your P&L and your balance sheet and your cash flows out of that. You got Dext as a document reporting system. A lot of people like QuickBooks Online payroll. We don't, because while they have good software, they don't have good service. And anytime we have software,
obviously we're not sponsored by
them. So I love their accounting software, and I like their software a lot. I do. But if I need to get something resolved, it's a nightmare.
And this is exactly what we're talking about with trying to find the perfect fit.
Exactly. Right? And generally nightmares flow up to the business owner, right? And they become the business owner's problem. The last thing I want to do is be sitting on a 1-800 number waiting on hold or talking to somebody that doesn't know what they're doing from Intuit support. So we do recommend using a payroll service bureau that has that service back end on it too, meaning that a service bureau is going to provide you with software. So we're talking ADP, Paychecks, or our service bureau, YPD. But you need to have that good back end support on it, because stuff doesn't go right all the time with payroll. There's a lot of nuances with payroll. You got to make sure that the stuff is entered in the system correctly. I mean, I've seen different payroll items that happen: reimbursements, insurance policies, retirement plan policies, contributions. Like, there's all these little moving pieces with payroll. And here's the thing with payroll is there's a lot of penalties involved in it. So you need that support on the back end of it. So that's another software that you definitely want to make sure that you have. And again, a SAS-based software, right? If you're on QuickBooks Desktop Payroll and you're printing your payroll checks, well, guess what? Every payday you're chained to that office for that.
And then you got to go buy some ink every so often too.
You have a SAS-based solution. You can do it from your boat out in the Caribbean. So that there's a big benefit there on that software side. In today's automotive atmosphere, there's so many amazing solutions available. There's digital vehicle inspection software, which you record your inspection, and when you find things, you actually get to show somebody the physical issue on their car. And there's even have down to pH type testing. So like little strips, you can test the fluid levels, and it tells you whether or not they're operating within specification. So gone are the days of like, hey, you need to change your transmission fluid because it smells burnt. No, we actually have real science and data behind whether or not you need to change whatever fluids you have. So there's a lot of technology and software out there that you need to be equipping your shop with to really get a lot of success and insight into your business.
Yep. And to basically recap, this is essentially looking at these and saying which one is the good fit for me today and going forward. Because exactly what you're saying, do you really want to be going through and testing all these fluids? Is that going to be part of your workflow? Is that something like, well, maybe let's move into that next year? Just be intentional. The last thing we want anyone to do is to go out and get this software package that all of a sudden is like, whoa, what did we just do?
Exactly. You got to test drive every one, right? It's just like buying a car, right? Go for a test drive. If you can rent the car, go to Enterprise and rent the car and do that. But I definitely as a shop, the main software you should really think about and focus on that shop management software. And I'll reiterate, what we see in the marketplace is Mitchell, TechMetric, Shopware, ShopMonkey, and I think Autoleap is probably the other one that has really risen to the ranks. There's a couple other nuanced ones, but largely that's the group that we're seeing. And again, test drive them all. They all have similar good functions. They have their pluses, their minuses, and it's about what's the best fit for you. What look, feel, nuances that you enjoy in that software that's going to make you a better shop at the end of the day.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Eric.
Thanks a lot.
You've been listening to Kaizen Time, part of the Blood, Sweat, and Business podcast. If you like what you heard, subscribe and leave a 5-star review. This podcast has been brought to you by Kaizen CPAs Plus Advisors, providing advisory and accounting services to help you grow your business. Learn more at kaizencpas.com or email us at bsb@kaizencpas.com.